49% of gay men, in terms of research, concerned with their bodies, a lot higher than heterosexual. Chew your food better. The more you do here, the less you have to do here.
Okay.
Does your food have enough fiber in it? And then there's the microbiome. Is your bacteria balanced? The good and bad bacteria. The gay world, it's a bit influenced by bodybuilding culture of thinking that we have to be eating X amount of protein all the time, and when to get it in and how to do it, and having all these elaborate shakes and supplements. Some of them play an important role. The way I work in nutrition is something called functional medicine. In the easiest way of explaining it, it considers the whole body. My brother's gay as well. So my brother came out and my mother said to me, "You have to be straight now." I used to wear my mum's dresses just for...
Oh, who didn't?
You know, exactly. I loved it. The first time with a guy, I went home and the shower loofahs, I scrubbed myself so much thinking, I'm disgusted. How is LGBTQ plus nutrition different? We should be passing a stool without having to clean much after, and it should be complete and move. And there's many ways to obviously improve that. You guys have fiber supplements, so that's one way of doing it. So that's bottom nutrition 101, I would say.
Yeah.
Having yogurt and fruit in the morning, or with some oats, super cheap. Canned tuna wrap for lunch, and then some vegetables, you can put together from the supermarket.
Stop trying to make me eat vegetables. What's your problem?
49% of gay men, in terms of research, are concerned with their bodies, a lot higher than heterosexual. Chew your food better. The more you do here, the less you have to do here.
Okay.
Does your food have enough fiber in it? And then there's the microbiome. Is your bacteria balanced? The good and bad bacteria. The gay world, it's a bit influenced by bodybuilding culture of thinking that we have to be eating X amount of protein all the time, and when to get it in and how to do it, and having all these elaborate shakes and supplements. Some of them play an important role. The way I work in nutrition is something called functional medicine. In the easiest way of explaining it, it considers the whole body. My brother's gay as well. So my brother came out and my mother said to me, "You have to be straight now." I used to wear my mum's dresses just for...
Oh, who didn't?
Exactly. I loved it.
Well done.
The first time with a guy, I went home and the shower loofahs, I scrubbed myself so much thinking, I'm disgusted. How is LGBTQ plus nutrition different? We should be passing a stool without having to clean much after, and it should be complete and move. And there's many ways to obviously improve that. You guys have fiber supplements, so that's one way of doing it. So that's bottom nutrition 101, I would say.
Yeah.
Having yogurt and fruit in the morning, or with some oats, super cheap. A canned tuna wrap for lunch, and then some vegetables that you can put together from the supermarket.
Stop trying to make me eat vegetables. What's your problem?
Hi, I'm Azamat.
And I'm Oliver, and we're the founders of Friend of Dorothy.
At today's episode, we're excited to have nutrition and mindset coach Daniel O'Shaughnessy. Hi, Daniel.
Hello.
Did he say that right, Daniel, your name?
I don't know. I think I disassociated.
Sorry.
It was more like I wanted you to do it right.
Yeah.
I was rooting for you.
Oh, thank you.
But I think my neuro spiciness got in the way.
Daniel, what does nutrition and mindset coach mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah.
I am a nutritionist, and I've been a nutritionist for about 15 years, let's say. And then I realized that in order to get meaningful change with people, there needs to be an element of the mind that you need to tap into, why people think the way they do, for example. And so that led me on to more training to work with people and work with thought patterns, behaviors, but also a deeper, and also into like their healing and trauma. And certain modalities that I use are breathwork, for example, so to help improve someone's outcomes. So another example is I don't necessarily just prescribe what to eat. It's more explain what could possibly go wrong in this approach, or helping them understand their own thoughts and behaviors to create change, basically.
Yeah.
So
I feel like there is a personal story behind that. Maybe you could share a little bit more about what was the path to this job?
Very, very bumpy. I learnt quite after the whole nutritionist world, I would say, where I was walking around telling people how to, live their life, eat this, using my science background to explain how things work in the body. I had this epiphany to think about adding some vulnerability into my work. Not just to relate to people, but also have some authenticity in what I do. And that led me both to explore how that works, but also in my own healing.
Yeah. So where are you from? What was your childhood like?
I'm just outside London. I grew up near Windsor. My childhood sucked really badly. It was but it was a bit smoke and mirrors where we were taught to pretend everything was perfect, School was a living nightmare for me. And I remember thinking, I have to just get through this. And I marked it as like a prison sentence.
Primary school or high school or?
The primary school was okay. Because I was still in primary school, I was very much like happy.
Okay.
And I think I started to learn about judgments and being different when I was about 10 years old. I was very much into Power Rangers, for example, and I wasn't into football, but my school classmates started judging me for
not being into football,
wanting to be the pink Power Ranger, for example.
Okay. Pink Power Ranger was the best.
The Power Rangers, is it gay thing or not?
Power Rangers is not Fierce Eastern culture. It was taken from Japan, I think, and moved into a westernized.
Right.
Sorry, I just need to stop. You never watched Power Rangers?
I don't think I did.
You have not lived, my friend.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix. It's like
really good.
Okay. Is it those kind of guys in costumes of different colors?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But was it back in the days considered to be not mask enough?
It stepped away from the masculine vibes of sport and girls and the
I think at primary school it was probably cool and all your friends would have liked it. But then high school, if you like it, you probably would have been made to feel like,
what's wrong with you?
Why haven't you left that behind like it's a kid's thing?
Yeah. So that was probably one of the first wake-ups to think, oh, maybe I'm different. But then I moved to secondary school. And my first day at school I was too enthusiastic. I put my hand up and answered a question in French class. And everyone laughed at me. And then ever since then, I was like walking the corridors. I was known as Fat Ginger Faggot.
Oh, wow.
That was my that was just me, who I was. And there was a song out at the time. Do you remember that song? Ging, 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 ging.
Oh, yeah.
Remember me? And I was just taunted by this song the whole time. And it was, in the UK, people being ginger, kids, was not acceptable.
Okay.
And you were bullied relentlessly for it. So on top of that, layering gay, where I don't really understand what's going on. And then my brother's gay as well. So my brother came out and my mother said to me, you have to be straight now. You have to get up and go and get married.
Is your brother older or younger?
He's older. So he fell out the closet. He burst out and, walking around going to heaven nightclubs with like boys' cheap t-shirts and stuff.
Is he also ginger?
No.
Okay.
So we're chalk and cheese.
So you were called straight away in secondary school all those nasty words.
I very much was different.
Mm-hmm.
I was very introverted, apart from after that French class incident. Probably people thought I was gay before I realised it myself, because I wasn't necessarily interested in hanging around with girls.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to hang around and be their friend, but I wasn't interested in dating them. I tried when I was 16 and it was just like not doing anything.
Also, back in that time, first of all, ginger, exactly as you say, it's not like now, where it's like literally it would just be one of the first things people would go to make jokes about you, I guess. I used to get jokes about being Irish and being a little bummer, and even teachers said stuff about it. But ginger was certainly used a lot more in a derogatory term. And you could be latched on to anything, even if you probably weren't gay, I think, back then.
Exactly. And then compound that with me being overweight.
Yeah.
But I was comfort eating. I was trying to get through and, that was what I did.
I guess I'm asking you this just because you come across as straight acting.
Do I?
Yeah, so that's why I guess when you are saying that people were calling you straight away gay, it's just like, okay, I don't see that.
Maybe. I mean, I probably was putting on, not putting on, but back then I
Wearing a dress? No,
well,
joking.
I used to wear my mum's dresses just for.
Oh, who didn't?
You know, exactly. I loved
We've all
it.
done it.
I was like, why are these boring boys clothes? And I can,
Yeah.
wear this. But we didn't have drag. I didn't understand what drag was
Yeah.
back then, and I didn't know what life was like outside of suburban heterosexual heteronormative frameworks. And so I just thought that growing up was going to the pub at the weekend, and it was really boring. Plus, so there were many not nice things that happened to me as I was growing up. I just spent a lot of time on my own, but it obviously shaped me. I realised also recently I've been diagnosed ADHD, which explains the kid. And like I understand now a lot about like why I was acting the way I was, but also adding to the kind of like nutrition side of things. You know, my mother was a weight loss coach, and I absorbed diet culture very young. So while I'm come home from like this awful time at school, my mother's working, either going to support people with weight loss, and I'm watching them get weighed, and I'm taking off all their clothes to weigh half a pound less, and I'm absorbing it. And I naturally then, years on, I start thinking, oh, I can control both how I look and also my feelings with restrictions. I was probably like 13 years old doing low calorie diets or trying ketogenic diets, and I didn't think it was a problem. I didn't tell anyone, and I'm sure my parents would have said to me, look what you're doing now, but it was a way of numbing for me. It fueled also both an interest in nutrition, but also I'm sure it led to a disordered patterns of both eating and behaviors later on.
It's interesting that you just said that your mom is a weight loss coach. I would assume that if I live in a family like that, mom would be super strict with food that we eat, like choose only organic or like cook only healthy meals. Was it like?
Well, the
like
problem
that?
is I grew up in the 90s where Diet Coke was healthy and all the low fat sugar alternatives were mainstream. So it's not a case of, my mum was probably, her operating system was probably Windows 2.0 at the time, compared on healthy eating. Now she knows what to eat organic and healthy.
Yeah.
But back then it was all like using Frylight sprays and Canderel, and so this is what I see and I absorb it. But it wasn't also, all the TV adverts at the time were all about the same sort of thing.
Chocolate. If you look at any of the adverts from back then, they were like the milk chocolate thing and everything, because there was no regulation for it and almost no education on being healthy. Whereas I think now we're very educated on what you should and shouldn't be having. Back then, because we're talking 80s, mid 80s,
Yeah,
early 90s.
I'm born in 84, so
84.
I
Okay, same as
probably was
me.
around it
Okay.
in like 94.
Early 90s, yeah. There was no education on it.
Nothing at all.
And what was then dynamic of you and your brother? So he came out first, you said.
He came out and we hated each other. We had a very strained relationship growing up. We were very different. And I don't know if it was an element of my shame that I didn't want to be like that. I didn't relate to it so much.
What do you mean by like that?
I saw him as more effeminate,
Yeah.
and I was growing up thinking that's what a gay person's going to be, or I was probably projecting that sort of thing at the time, unconsciously. Also, he just was a complete asshole. He wound me up a lot. So, growing up knowing that an older brother was gay, it led me to be a lot more entrenched in shame, thinking I can't be gay. I don't want to live my life gay, but also super curious about how he's living his life and what he's doing and if he's going out clubbing, and I'm like, what happened? But saying it in a very like covert way so I was just curious but not too curious,
Because you were not out to him.
No, I didn't come out to him till I was probably 20. But at the same time, when Queer as Folk, the TV show, first aired, and I remember going to bed, having the TV remote on the lowest volume you could possibly imagine, just in case someone walked in.
Yeah.
And I was just staring at it like, what? This is amazing. Like, what is this life? So
I totally relate with that. And I think probably a lot of people our age did. You seen Queer as Folk?
I've heard of it.
Like, it was groundbreaking. It was the first time there had ever been a program made in a positive light about gay people, gay culture, and so on. And I think it was, for a lot of people, like a gay awakening sort of thing, even if you already knew you were gay and stuff.
And it was also quite wild.
It was wild. You wouldn't want to get caught watching it. I would think back to when I would watch it, and it would be the same, where it would be on silent.
I think I saw it, and from the first episode, they're already having sex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's the US ones, there's the UK one and the US one. It's both very different. But it was my like, wow, I want to do this. And also at the same time, with our dial-up internet that we had at the time, I was downloading the hunk of the day, locked in an office. My mum called me once, and she walked in and she goes, "I see you downloading boobs." Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And then quickly he's downloading boobs and filling the computer with them.
And then we had gay.com chat.
Okay.
And that was my first outlet into like being able to connect with people. And very nostalgic, because it was just, you could just, part of your personality that's being exercised, that you want that's and allowed, and connecting with other people. And so that's probably my...
And when you were doing it, were you feeling a lot of fear towards it?
Oh, fear, scared. But it was that excitement, is the tongue goes dry, and like, you know, I shouldn't be doing this.
The blood pressure goes up, adrenaline.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, this just feels so right but so wrong at the same time. And it's also that secret.
And then when you come, you feel disgusting.
I remember, the first time I remember I had sex with a guy, I went home and the shower loofahs, I scrubbed myself so much, thinking I'm disgusted.
Yeah.
And then I was back on Gaydar the next week.
Next day. It's like deleting Grindr and then downloading it after 1 hour.
I'm better than this. And then you're like, oh, damn it, I'm not. I'm back on there talking to the same losers. But I remember buying my first Attitude magazine in the train station. And I was deliberately got it when I was on the train to go and see a friend, because I was like, I can get rid of it on the other end. That no one ever needs to see it. I remember, because it used to be kept high up, which is ridiculous. Like, it's not porn. And I remember that whole dry mouth thing, like getting it down, the nerves, like someone might catch me just buying a magazine.
I know. But I'm quite appreciative to have grown up with that, rather than probably kids these days. I've seen gay acceptance, obviously it's changing a bit now, but like the Liberation Front is we've witnessed it come into fruition. And it's a piece in my memory bank, is probably not the worst memories I had, but it was...
I think it was riskier, to be honest with you. You felt like you're sometimes on the edge, because Grindr wasn't there. So you would, I don't know, cruise somewhere, right? I think it's riskier for safety, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
So what happened from the age of 14 and on?
In a nutshell, I had a really shit time at school. I barely got through my exams, and then I went to uni, and I came out of uni, and I was living my best gay life in Plymouth, studying a subject I didn't care about. I was finally being me, and also proved that I could study without distraction. And by distraction, it meant being studied without being bullied. And I realised there are nice people out there. Fast forward that, I'm working in the drug addiction centres, and then I started seeing how nutrition is helping these people I'm working with. So that fueled me into studying nutrition. I did that for 3 to 4 years, and then I began working in nutrition. The way I work in nutrition is something called functional medicine. And what this technically, in the easiest way of explaining it, it considers the whole body. So not just addressing symptoms, but for example, if someone has digestive issues, what could be causing that? Could it, rather than just giving some anti-cramping supplement or something to ease constipation, what could be the functional reason behind that? And it could even be down to like the nervous system stress or how well you're digesting. So it's considering all angles. So I worked in that for a while, a long time. That then, I actually went on a gay cruise in 2018, 19.
We were on the same one with Oliver.
Which one?
Yeah, we've seen you in the dark room.
Oh, we'll be out fine.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
It's my bright skin and red hair. I was on the Atlantis cruise, and everyone was saying to me like, "Oh, don't go on it. You're going to be, it's going to be awful. Everyone's going to be like stuck up." I completely felt the opposite. It was like everyone just dropped all their baggage at the shore, and I had the best week of my life. It was really nice people. But while I'm like around these, I think when you work for yourself, you start thinking about connections, and my brain started thinking about how could my work be relevant to the LGBTQ plus community. And so I come back and I started brainstorming, and that led me to writing a book on LGBTQ plus nutrition. And the question I always get asked is, how is this relevant? What's the difference? And I always encourage people, first of all, not to judge a book by its cover, which the book's being rewritten at the moment and being released a second edition next year.
And the name of your first book was?
It was called Naked Nutrition, but it's being rewritten as a queer guide to nutrition and lifestyle.
Okay.
But people ask me, how is LGBTQ plus nutrition different? Considering nutrition aside from protein, carbohydrates and calories. So looking at the nutrition functionally, how can nutrition, for example, support someone with HIV or someone going through transitioning as transgender in hormone balance or surgical support or lifestyle? How can it support nutrition, mental health? There's the party lifestyle. I like to talk about the messy in between rather than the aesthetics or the health like prevention messaging we get from the medical areas. So I like to look at the in between. So a prime example is if you are having sex and you are a bottom, for example, your digestion is super important. Yeah. Like, first of all, I talk about things like how to support your digestion to support your sex life. And then also underneath that is how to support what happens if you're douching and how to support that. This is just one of the examples. But
I guess it's very much similar to some people asking why gays need the supplements brand. Right? And we kind of understand that for gays we have some certain needs that are quite different from straight community. And that's why we're trying to help to solve the problems that we face ourselves.
The thing is, we live as gay men. Our lifestyle is completely different. The whole of our culture is completely different to straight culture, in as much as probably things like the time we eat, what we eat in relation to, I think a lot of people, straight people, get married a lot younger and so on and settle down, so would stop going out partying, whereas we kind of party later in life in gay culture. And well, let's face it, if you're out partying every weekend, I don't mean party by necessarily taking drugs, I just mean having a completely different type of lifestyle. Your nutritional needs are going to be a lot different for that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is also that the nutrition needs or the party lifestyle overlaps so much into the aesthetic lifestyle of the muscle gain and fitness world.
Okay.
And so it's understanding that and having a compassionate approach to it, and rather than taking the totalitarian approach of don't do that or do this, I'm very much like, well, if you're going to do that, just look after yourself by doing this. And if you really can't do that, just do this one thing that might help you. And the idea is it might help them feel better in the week. And we're just using the example of the party lifestyle here, but it's like an interconnected web. I see LGBTQ plus nutrition, but also why shouldn't we have our own area? It's my lived experience plus my academic background. And we have areas of like children's health, female health, men's health. It's just that topic that's probably quite new. And at the moment when people see it, they're no. So hopefully when people get to read the book, they'll see, okay, I understand what he's saying.
And I guess there's a thing with the likes of Grindr and so on. that affects your view of your own body. So I've spoken about this quite a bit with my therapist, about going on Grindr and how it can make you feel bad about yourself because sick of going on there and feeling fat. And she nearly fell off her chair. What do you mean you're feeling fat? And I was like, well, I go on and they've all got six packs and abs and all of this sort of stuff. And she was totally shocked that I would even have them thoughts about being fat. And it comes from dating apps and so on. So I think with gay dating apps, they get into your psyche and that has an effect on the mental health.
Yeah. So first of all, if you're like constantly swiping, that's activating your brain reward center. For me particularly, like I'm at the moment on my break from Grindr. Let's just say.
Okay. You raised it yesterday.
I know. It's been 2 weeks, and I've just had enough of this. I need to concentrate. But also, it drives for me background anxiety. And I don't necessarily pinpoint that to go, oh, I saw someone who's ripped. It's just the fleeting, like I actually say on my bio, let's chat for a bit and never meet, because that's the reality of it. You lose the personal person in the profile. I remember once I gave my number 1 digit wrong by accident, and the guy just started having a huge go at me. So I think we lose patience for each other on it. And plus there's the whole body image and the hookup culture. But I sometimes feel that that's like the only place to go to meet people. I don't necessarily party anymore. And I think, yes, there are some diamonds in the rough, but the alternatives like Tinder, for example, it's full of like buildings and fake profiles.
Cats,
yeah.
fish.
So it's just like a rock and a hard place. There's no in between. And I'm actually, for the last 2 years, I'm embracing more of an sober lifestyle. I don't party like I used to. And you think that Grindr has to be this necessity, but I found that I was just picking it up because I was bored. But then getting wound up by what I'm seeing. Yes, the bodies are around it. And if I'm lucky enough to be able to have worked on myself enough to think about what's happening and step away from it. But I can see how it can drive a lot of anxiety, a lot of inadequacy, and fuel like probably toxic behaviors in both life and gym and partying.
So you deleted Grindr, but you still have your kind of needs.
Yeah.
Then what do you do when you have that spike of need?
The problem I'm finding is that I'm looking at the moment more for this kind of connection. Random hookups, yes, they can be great and they can be fun, but I feel a bit more empty when I've had them.
Yeah.
And I'm veering off more to like, it doesn't do it for me anymore. If I really have needs, there's places, outlets I can go to. There's sex bars, whatever it is, saunas or something like that. But primarily the reason why I deleted Grindr is because it was just, I was working and it was that thing I would just have on. It was just like, I may as well have had a conversation with the wall. That's how far it was going with certain things. At the same time, I was experiencing a lot of people that were taking substances, and there's no issue with that, but it wasn't what I was looking for. I think it was creating background noise, and I know that my nervous system is completely shot based on what I've been through. And now I need to take steps to actually calm down. Like I don't automatically do it. So I know that that's something that creates anxiety for whatever reason.
Yep.
So I take it out and I'm stuck with this bored, but I'm doing something that's probably more mindful in the process, you know.
So what would be then your top 3 tips of how to deal with Grindr anxiety? So you deleted it, then what's next?
Well, perhaps deleting it is not always the answer. I think that setting limits. What mood are you in before going on Grindr? If you're intentionally going on Grindr, I'm horny, I want to have sex. That's the perfect way to go on Grindr.
Do you think there are people who do that? Because I think it's like Instagram, where it's designed so that you constantly pick it up, even if you're not looking for something. Because I'm forever erasing it. It's a distraction. And I download it again, and I'm like, not even looking. I think pretty much everyone's doing the same. It's designed so that you just keep picking it up to look at it.
So the way I do it is, so I deleted Grindr. You need to create an alternative, right? So, and for me, alternative is, as you said, is having more meaningful connections and then have sex. For example, just using Hinge for that purpose, right? It's more like the whole vibe is dating. But sometimes it happens that the connection straight away is sexual. And I literally see that as more hookup connection. And I don't mind that. And I like that. But I use Hinge more on both dating and some profiles you really feel that they really want to just have sex with you. And it's fine. And I like that as well.
It's interesting with Hinge. I have one topless picture on my Hinge profile. Some guy messaged me, "You would be great, but you have a topless picture here." And I was just like, fuck off. Like, you know, like, it's creating a whole, it's creating a whole new level of like how we should be more policing ourselves or feeling ashamed of what we're doing.
Yeah.
But what I have noticed with Hinge, you may have dates with them, but then there's another layer of complexity, especially with gay men, is that kind of like commitment or busyness of like, I live my London lifestyle. Who are you to come in and start like wanting to date me? And I noticed it when I do it, is when someone starts wanting to spend time with me, I'm like, alarms, what's going on? And the intimacy button gets triggered. And I struggle with that. And I notice also when others do it, I'll pull away and we can have a great 1 or 2 dates and then it goes silent because both of us are overthinking about the issue. You know, I've had people that have cancelled dates when they've told me they've got diarrhea after having a protein shake. Never heard from them again, or maybe it's me. I think what I'm trying to say here is that gay dating and intimacy is difficult, very difficult. And what I try to do is live more in the moment. I think what's changed since I was a lot younger is I don't want to necessarily care about what someone's doing anymore. Like I'm too busy to care about whether they're monogamous or wanting to have sex elsewhere. Of course, I want a degree of respect, but I just don't want the headspace. And maybe that's it because I'm in my 40s now. I just want a calm life.
So what do you want?
That sounded like quite harsh. What is it you want?
I don't know what I want because it hasn't shown up, but I know I want a calm nervous system around dating. That's the key thing for me.
I saw a reel on social media where someone said, you really need to understand very well what do you want, right? Like create an avatar of that person in ideal world and be very honest. And then based on that avatar, when you're swiping, use that as like a template so that you are not getting distracted. Because it's easy to fall into, again, that trap of your type was usually this, right? Or just because that person is chatting nicely with you, blah, blah, blah. But then if you compare that, to your template, maybe I shouldn't waste my time if I actually honestly want this, right? And that helps you not to waste anyone's time.
So I disagree.
Okay.
I have very good reasoning for this. First of all, I think what I want changes, and I don't think you can narrow it down that simple because people are so complex, and you're not going to find one person that gives you everything you want. Can you imagine how small that pool is? For example, before we dated and got together and married and all of that, you would have never been what I wanted. You were the exact opposite. Yes, we ended up divorced. You weren't. And we had a great time. And all the time we were together, it was amazing. But you wouldn't have been what I wanted. And I remember in your wedding speech, you said I was fat. And I wasn't what you wanted. But we're happy that you had me.
Well, but that's fixable, right? We fixed your teeth, we fixed your hair, and we fixed your body weight.
Calm down. But my point is...
I feel like Jeremy Kyle here.
You wouldn't have been, had I had a fixed template, and maybe I wouldn't have spent a lot of money on a wedding that ended up pointless. But my point, you wouldn't have fitted that template.
Okay.
Yeah? And then we wouldn't have had all that, the amazing times we had, we wouldn't have had a daughter and so on. So I just think having a template and saying, I'm only going to go for this person, doesn't work.
I think if I add to that, I'm not sure if I trust myself to know what a health template is.
I do like what you said. It reminds me of, I'm reading a book at the moment by Mel Robbins, Let Them.
Oh God, yeah.
What do you mean? Oh God, it's really good.
Can we change it to fuck them?
It reminds me of what we were just saying then. It is a great way to date, I think. Is, okay, well, if that's how they are, let them, and I'll do this. You can just let them be who they are, and see where that goes.
I think the key thing for me in dating is not losing myself.
Yeah.
So they can be what they are, but if I start losing myself, whether it's questioning my own thoughts, behaviours, or actions, then that's my my red line.
Yeah.
Why I say that is because I historically don't know how to say no.
I remember from Atlantis Cruises.
That was you, was it?
That was me. You remember?
But I also don't have boundaries. That's the thing. I've been single for a long time, but I won't have an unhealthy relationship now.
Nice. So I just want to tap back on something you mentioned a few times, and that is about your nervous system.
Yeah.
Which I find super interesting. It was something I was discussing a few weeks ago with somebody about disassociating.
Yeah.
And the way you mention your nervous system, you almost mention it separate to yourself. Do you view it like that?
I know it's there,
Mm-hmm.
and I know I have to obviously work with it, which is the hardest bit. And learning to become one with it is still a huge challenge with me because I'm pushing myself every single day. But I'm a lot better. I used to push my body with substances a lot, drinking a lot of alcohol, and also taking anabolic steroids. So my nervous system was completely shot, plus all the trauma that's happened. My set point for my nervous system was here. But it's got to the point now where after a lot of healing, I'm very aware when I'm triggered in terms of you're anxious, you need to calm down, or you're not sleeping well, you need to have a sleep hygiene before bed.
Mm-hmm. But you're very aware of your nervous system.
Very aware and trying to do things that are in line with it. The stress. Now, with running a business, you love doing what you're doing, but also there's detrimental stress that happens. And there's a bit of both in business, isn't there? And my nervous system is still heightened. So I have to do a lot of grounding. And by that, it means bringing myself back into my body.
Mm-hmm.
And I studied for last year doing it to become breathwork coach. And it's the premise around breathwork is there's different types. And a lot of people associate it with the Wim Hof, but it's not that. Okay. It's more of a control.
Do it again.
On one leg.
The breath work I do is more about connecting with your nervous system, and it's called conscious connected breathing. And essentially, in a nutshell, what it does is it taps into the realm of what psychedelics do and plant medicine does without taking anything. So you have a session of 1 to 2 hours doing it. You can do 15 minutes. But I know it. Like this morning, I'm trying to make a habit of doing 15 minutes of breath work a day. That settles me. There are many other ways to do it. You can journal, free-fall writing, but...
Can you give an example of when should that be done?
Anyone can be helped by breathwork. Breathwork is a tool in your healing. It's not necessarily for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Be prepared to feel feelings. Be prepared to let go of emotion. Your body holds a lot of, trauma, and sometimes these things come up. There can be, you have to be careful with breathwork with certain psychiatric conditions or blood pressure. That's the disclaimer out the way. But it can be helped with anxiety, with fear, with depression. I did a lot of therapy. It wasn't quite cutting it. Mm-hmm. And I had severe body dysmorphia that I didn't even realise. I was so anxious all the time. I was partying a lot. I was taking anabolic steroids. And it got to the point where I was having really dark thoughts. And I was just questioning my existence all the time. And it was a combination of what's happened to me, what's going on for me right now, but also the lifestyle behaviors in a blender. I wasn't practicing something called reflexivity, which I talk about in my book, about how to think, why you think the way you do. Mm-hmm. But it got to the point when I started feeling these thoughts, and I just thought, I need to do something that's a bit more. So that led me going into inquiring about psychedelics. Mm-hmm. So things like psilocybin, magic mushrooms, ayahuasca, and these things are illegal in the UK, but in other countries like Spain or South America, they're not. Mm-hmm. So it led me to go to do all these retreats. And the feeling I got from this, you know, I was scared. I went into it. I start reliving all my trauma. And it's so hard work. It hurts. And it was holding me. It takes you on a journey and you're holding you in your pain, making you feel the pain in order to exercise it from the body. And forgiveness, my self-forgiveness, understanding what happened to me wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
And anyway, long story short, coming back, and I thought, well, this is what I want to do. But I can't obviously give people psychedelics because of the legality issue, which then led me to training into breathwork, because they both act on something called the default mode network. Our default mode network is our sense of self. So it works on the physical, emotional, and a spiritual level.
And is it like journaling? So journaling is something I took up about 2 years ago because of thoughts that were going through my head to try and work through them. But now it's like every day. I don't go a day without journaling. Is it something you use when you need, or you should build it into your life?
In the ideal world, you should build it into your life, whether it's 10 minutes a day or an hour session in a group at a weekend. I'm not going to sit here and preach something that I struggle to do it sometimes. I love to be anxious and stressed because I know it's safe for me. I can control that. Underneath that is the layer of the emotional me, which is harder. So.
And for those people who want to start breathwork, where do you start?
If you want to do something like breathwork, explore the different modalities and work with someone who knows what they're doing or can teach you the technique so you can do it by yourself.
Yeah. I want to shift the gear and talk a little bit more about your first book, when it's more related to nutrition based on the challenges that LGBT community have. Can you give me an example of what would good nutrition look like for a bottom?
I think there's different ways to look at this. The obvious one is to manage your digestion. People think that when you're a bottom, you just have to go without eating before you have sex for like 12 hours.
It's quite a common thing, like in reels, where you see reels about the bottom not eating the night
eating
before,
leaves and top is
leaves,
eating burger.
and the top's got a massive plate with burger and fries and everything like that on it.
But it doesn't have to be like that. It's about the construction of your plate in A, and then B is how well your digestion is functioning. In the real basic terms, if you're eating a healthy diet, you should be having motility, a complete movement, and almost be ready for sex. And I know it's like sounds like blasphemy that I'm saying that you probably sometimes don't need to douche. It's understanding your digestion more. Say if you suffer digestive symptoms, whether it's loose stools, constipation, bloating, wandering. Right, so what's my diet like? Am I eating healthy, number one? Or am I surviving on lots of caffeine and sugar and maybe foods that don't agree with me? Digging a bit deeper, you might consider looking at foods that you might be sensitive to, whether it's gluten and dairy. These are two obvious ones. You can probably do a trial to see if that impacts you, or speak to a physician to understand that more. How well are you digesting your food? Are you chewing your food when you eat it? Tip number one, all bottoms, chew your food better. The more you do here, the less you have to do here.
Okay.
Does your food have enough fiber in it? And then there's the microbiome. Is your bacteria balanced? The good and bad bacteria. So are you eating enough fermented foods, or do you have a history of taking lots of antibiotics, or if there's lots of stress happening? These things all impact the gut. So, and then there's obviously the lifestyle patterns and behaviors that we add to it. So if you're douching a lot, it's going to impact your gut. If you take antibiotic prophylaxis, yes, it's great at minimizing infections, but if you're taking it every day, it's probably causing some sort of disruption to your gut. So it's not about being like obsessing about it, but it's being aware about how to eat if you want to engage in anal sex without necessarily having the fear. Ultimately, when you pass a stool normally, we should be passing a stool without having to clean much after, and it should be complete and move. And there's many ways to obviously improve that. You guys have fiber supplements, so that's one way of doing it. So that's bottom nutrition 101, I would say.
Yeah.
just staying on it a second. You say about fiber, yeah, which sounds easy, but it isn't always. Okay, top 3 easy hacks for fiber, yeah, without supplements.
I would say easy to digest fiber, especially if you're one to bottom. So oats, soak them overnight.
Like overnight oats, yeah?
Overnight oats.
Okay, I can do that. Easy.
One good thing. Add vegetables to your meals.
Okay, and if I'm not a big vegetable person?
Well, try to. I can't really help you with like adding more fiber. These are more soluble fiber that help keep you healthy.
Okay.
But the insoluble, it's like using more whole grain approaches.
Okay.
Some might work really well, some not. There is a kind of fail safe sometimes where if you know you're going to like a big party, you can limit the amount of certain fibers you have, so your stool's not so bulky. But that could also lead to more feelings of not having complete movements.
Okay.
The simpler you have it, the better. But for example, if you're having like burger sweet potato fries, it sounds really obvious here, but add some fibre to your protein shake.
Okay.
Easy. Or have some brown rice in the evening.
Brown rice?
Yeah.
Interesting.
White rice doesn't have that much fibre.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So imagine a situation when you're going to Atlantis cruise and you're bottom and you'll be bottoming for 7 days in a row.
7 days in a row?
So what would be then tips in terms of food for a bottom at the restaurant?
In
the buffet.
At the buffet, the problem is
lunch,
with the Atlantis, if you're going on a cruise, you need to just nourish yourself because you're probably dancing a lot and using a lot of energy.
Okay.
So there's the first aspect of making sure you're eating enough. And I would probably top load my fibre. So eat more fibre in the morning than the evening. So if you're having a big dance party in the evening, eat more of the fibre in the breakfast, for example. I would take a fibre supplement. And making sure you're also really hydrated.
Yeah.
That's the important.
Another kind of challenge that some gays might have is partying too much.
Yeah.
Right? And for people who are partying, what are nutrition tips that you give?
When you party, there's many variables at play. It's what you're doing, but also the substances you take. Really, one of the main things you want to be considering is how you're going to feel the next few days after, known as the come down.
Yeah.
So it's working with your brain chemistry and ensuring that your brain chemistry is supported. So there's things you can probably do before you go out, which around like hydration and, calming the nervous system, for example. I would probably recommend someone going to a dance party to take an electrolyte pack.
Before going out?
Well, I can take the tablets to the party or sachets.
To the club.
Put them in the water bottle. If it's a big party, otherwise to have it when you get home.
Yeah.
I recommend making snacks before when you get home. You may not want to eat, you may not want to prepare anything, but even having a smoothie ready in the fridge to go. So usually people get some sort of like low mood or motivation 2 or 3 days after the party. And that's where you want to really supporting neurotransmitters. And a lot of people jump straight to this serotonin precursor called 5-HTP. But perhaps a B vitamin complex might be more efficient here about supporting the energy pathways, you're giving your brain the nutrients it needs to make more serotonin or dopamine. And also if someone's taking other substances like GBL, we have to say it's common in the gay scene. It can cause gut irritation. So supporting that with gut lining support, it could be something from bone broth to probiotics to natural yogurt, that sort of thing. There are many supplements you can consider. It's about your budget, what you want to do, and some you can get a multi to be able to cover all bases, really. So.
You gave an example of trans people who are transitioning. Can you elaborate more about what kind of nutrition do they need in that period?
When you work with transgender people, it's mainly around hormone balance, the surgical support, but you might consider the way hormones are being processed in the body, possible side effects, and it's about supporting the diet to create hormone balancing, to give the body the nutrients to be able to process the hormones. There are other areas you might want to look at in terms of resilience.
You've mentioned that you were using anabolic steroids for muscle growth.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing that, is there also any particular nutrition tips that you can give?
Yes, anabolic steroids is an interesting subject, especially around gay men. There are so many like variables you can consider around nutrition and lifestyle approach. When I started taking steroids, I noticed that my health was changing. My cholesterol rose, my blood pressure rose, my health markers were all out of line. So that's one area you can consider. One area is thinking about how people eat, like to use steroids. You heard of like the bulking phrases like dirty bulking and clean bulking.
Yeah.
For me, when I was doing steroids, anything I ate would turn to muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So I was eating all this junk food.
Yeah.
Is adding to the mix of not feeling well. And where I open the bracket of nutrition into lifestyle and mental health, with steroids, there's definitely a degree of anxiety that comes with steroids. Ultimately, taking steroids is not a case of just putting them in your body and everything just blows up automatically. You still have to train and eat properly. But what's quite unique to the gay population is we take steroids and we also have a big party lifestyle culture.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they blend, and that can then cause a lot of problems.
Can I just link you, when you took steroids, back to the beginning when we spoke about how as a child growing up you were fat?
Mm.
And sorry if this sounds harsh, when did you become not fat?
I moved to London and I started going out on the London scene. Okay. And I started seeing, that exclusive group with their shirts off.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, how do they exist? I want to be in that group. And of course, ignored. And me at the time wanted to be in that circle. And I started training more. It was like I worked and then I had to go to the gym for 2 hours every night. Mm-hmm. I started to develop a natural body, but without steroids. Mm-hmm. But that extra layer, I used to say to people, how do I get like that? And they go, well, he's on gear. Mm-hmm. That's what happens. And it was just so desirable. But part of me doing steroids was putting my body dysmorphia on autopilot. Mm-hmm. First of all, they affect your neurobiology. So I was feeling more motivated and more upbeat. I could see my body changing, even though I didn't see it the way other people saw it. And I started then getting attention from that crowd. Okay. So it was brushing my ego was swelling and I was loving it. So of course I'm going to weigh up that against the side effects. Mm-hmm. And I was just using my nutrition knowledge or a pill to negate hair loss. Like I had a hair transplant because I lost a lot of my hair with anabolic steroid use. They fast forwarded my male pattern baldness. Okay. So that's something that I wasn't aware of. And other side effects, people might get acne. I didn't get that. I thought I was free from that. But when they came, I was horrified.
I think most people don't look at the side effects of things. It's human nature to see the positive in what you're going to get from it without weighing up the bad of it.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't do steroids again?
No. I wouldn't. I don't think they...
You don't need to with a chest like that.
I don't know about that. I'm not going to lie. When I see people who have got a well-developed physique, I go, oh, that's an easy route back for me. But I know that's my addiction. And I think I'm moving now more into more at peace with my body than I ever have been. Yes, I still look in the mirror and I think I'm fat. Yes, I get bloated. Yes, I binge eat. Yes, all this kind of stuff. But I'm more compassionate with myself when I do it. Mm-hmm. Or I don't necessarily have a diet per se. I just eat how I want to eat. And it's quite well. I like to eat healthy food.
And do you think to be able to eat well, does it need to cost a lot?
No. There's many ways if you can't afford to eat well. First of all, you have to educate yourself to understand what is healthy eating. But you can batch cook, you can buy cheap, you don't have to eat meat every day. Mm-hmm. The gay world, it's a bit influenced by bodybuilding culture of thinking that we have to be eating X amount of protein all the time and when to get it in and how to do it and having all these elaborate shakes and supplements. Some of them play an important role, but at the base nutrition, for someone that can't necessarily afford it. Having yogurt and fruit in the morning, or with some oats, super cheap. Having canned tuna wrap for lunch, that's easy enough too. And then having some vegetables that you can put together from the supermarket.
Stop trying to make me eat vegetables. What's your problem?
If you don't like vegetables, play around with how they're cooked.
Okay.
Daniel, I've struggled with body dysmorphia for the last 4 years. I was wondering if you have any tips for someone like me.
The actual definition of body dysmorphia is around not like obsessive scrutinizing your appearance, all of this mirror checking. I believe it goes further than that. And it's this pervasive feeling of not feeling good enough. To unpick that, we have to first see how it applies to the gay lived experience, and then consider what areas of your health need to be helped. For example, nutrition. Nutrition is understanding how to eat healthy, but not obsessing about it. Knowing how eating influences your energy, your mood, your gut, the gut brain, and your hunger hormones. On top of that, it's addressing things like trauma. But I think we forget, and we reminded me in this talk today, how our childhood growing up has affected us. And it might not be extreme, but subtle in terms of our relationship with control or our nervous system or the hypervigilance that we have. So addressing trauma or even understanding your trauma, and then finding spaces where healing it helps. So it's finding supportive environments. Perhaps that means changing your gym if it triggers you. And then if exercise is also something that's quite important, developing a better relationship with it.
I have a question in as much as what is body dysmorphia? In my head, often I think it's only relating to somebody who's anorexic and stops eating, or the opposite, which is people taking steroids and getting really big and not realize they're getting big. But is there almost like a spectrum of it?
There's a spectrum, but underneath it's about the feeling of not feeling good enough. So you might have obsessive behaviors around it, whether it's overtraining or how you see yourself, checking mirrors. Digging deeper, it's tied to your self-worth. And for me, if I knew my body dysmorphia was very apparent, I would have gone to the doctor. But I didn't. I wasn't even discussing it with my therapist. But I just didn't feel good enough in any space, shape or form, wherever I was. But I wasn't always conscious of the fact. I thought it was just like the app running in the background. I think 49% of gay men, in terms of research, are concerned with their bodies, a lot higher than heterosexual.
Interesting.
You can easily start a conversation with some gay man about their body and how they think about their body. Some people, for example, might want to feel that they're not big enough for the bear community.
Yeah, makes sense.
Some might not be able to grow muscle.
Yeah.
Some might be about losing weight. They're the kind of the factors or the diagnostic criteria, for example. But drilling deep, and this is why I talked about the functional approach, my curiosity goes more into the whys and then why do you not feel good enough? And it's tied up in this web of the gay community. We have to consider our gay history.
Makes sense. Can I just elaborate on from that? What sort of red flags? Because I remember you started the process probably in the last year of our marriage. And I noticed things in you, like you would only eat rice and chicken. And you were like obsessing about eating rice and chicken for lunch every day. And it never triggered at the time. But what would be red flags for people to look out for to be able to help people?
I don't know if you would be aware of, because it's body dysmorphia is so ingrained in our culture much, I think it's being aware of your thoughts and being aware of your patterns of behavior. If you're suddenly like changing your social arrangements because of how you look or how you feel, or it might just be living in constant anxiety about your body, about not wanting to go places or feeling you have to be at the gym. I think what I'm trying to say is step away from what you've been taught and try to bring yourself back to you and think, well, what is important for me? What am I doing? Am I exercising? Am I overtraining? Is that something that's impacting me? Am I obsessing about what I'm eating? Like you just said, these are things that come together. I think it's having some awareness, self-awareness.
Daniel, I guess for our viewers and listeners, with what kind of challenges and problems they can come to you?
I'm not a therapist, so just to want to make clear, if you are suffering, I think therapy is number one. So I work with nutrition and mindset and also do breathwork. But my Instagram is The Naked Nutritionist, and they can find me on that and see what I talk about and connect with me there. That's probably...
And are you naked on it?
Well, probably...
We'll have to find it. We'll have a look
if you
and
go
find
through
out.
to 2017, there's probably a lot more thirst traps.
Okay.
You are having a new book released.
Yes.
Can you please tell us a little bit more about it?
So this is my healing journey wrapped up, plus with academic background. I healed, and then I did a master's degree in understanding mental health better. And I put that together to understand body dysmorphia through the lens of the gay lived experience. So I talk about what body dysmorphia is, how important it is, and the subject matter in the gay community. And I then start to pick it apart, understanding body dysmorphia from the eyes of trauma, how you can go about addressing your trauma, looking into your mindset, finding supportive environments, and also developing a better relationship with exercise. So all of this is in here, and it's out in October.
Name of the book?
Letting Go of Perfect, a gay man's guide to healing from body dysmorphia.
Where can we find it?
It'll be in bookshops worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Awesome. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Daniel, thank you so much for coming in. Really educational. I'm super excited to read the book.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Daniel.